brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both sides of the couch.
Hey! Yes!
Looks like she gonna react again.
I love it.
Welcome. As you see, we have Miss Jai Pierre Raven back.
Yay! Part two.
Part two from the Woman's Earth. We wanted to talk a little bit more about self-love and give her opportunity to talk about how self-love is incorporated within your businesses, your business and everything that you have going on.
Right? It's how you live your life.
Right. And so just tell, I don't know if we talked the last time about the Woman's Earth and even how that came to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Woman's Earth, we turned 5 years old June 9th, next month, just a couple of weeks. And I was climbing the career ladder. I'm an HR professional by trade and training. And I had just gotten to a point in my life where I felt like I was just kind of chasing this dream outside of myself. Mm-hmm. And I think I mentioned last time, a couple of weeks ago, that just really validating my worth based on my relationships with, you know, my partner at the time, my relationships with my career, you know, just everything outside of myself. And so when that stuff does not work out as it didn't work out at times, then it's like, if that's what I'm validating my worth on, then what's my worth when that shit ain't working out?
Right.
So I remember it was 2013. I was facing, like, you know, I hit a glass ceiling. There was some sexism, racism, things going on at work, and just really frustrated. I went to Africa for a spiritual retreat. I was initiated as a priestess of Yemoja in this spiritual indigenous system called Ifa. But beyond all of that, it was just, I mentioned this the last time, just being able to focus on me and just what I wanted. And really just saying, okay, what do I like? What are my desires? What are my goals truly in happiness? And what does that look like? Even if I'm not in any type of relationship, if I put this whole career to the side, which eventually I did, what do I look like and what makes me whole? And so I got back from that excursion and I no longer felt comfortable in my skin in that environment. So, and I love my skin in a different way when I got back from that. So I resigned. I think it wasn't 3 whole months. I resigned from my job, and I had saved a little coin, so I wasn't being completely reckless. But I resigned from my job, and I was just like, I just need space to just really continue this energy of loving on me, you know, deciding what I wanted. So I knew I wanted to work with women. It's always been a passion of mine. I did my first workshop, women's empowerment workshop in college, and I used to make my friends come. I come to my workshop. Right. And I was 19 when I did my first workshop at Sam Houston State. Eat 'em up, cats. So, and it was about, I remember it was about joy and happiness, and how do we maintain joy and happiness, and what's the difference between the two. And that was with my 19-year-old experience. Yeah, wow. And so now that I done gone through some things, you know, I just want to keep that momentum. And I started writing the material for the Woman's Earth. What would it look like if I had an organization that catered to women, particularly women of color? You know, what does that look like? And so I took a trip to Miami with 2 of my, what I consider my mentors, my big sisters. Shout out to Valerie Love and Joy. I love y'all. They're older than me, very established in their careers. And when they didn't think I was crazy for leaving my job, I felt like, okay, I must be onto something. And it's like, and it was more like, you know, we admire you for taking this step out on faith. So I hung out with them. I got some good woman wisdom from them. And got back, started writing the mission, the values, everything that I wanted the Woman's Earth to be without knowing how it was going to manifest, and left my very comfortable townhome and shared a space with my storage and opened my first studio in 3rd Ward. And the programming just kind of organically grew. You know, it just really was, a sis will come up to me, hey sis, I want to teach yoga in your space. Okay, cool. Shout out to Raquel Bradley. She was the first yoga teacher at the Women's Earth almost 5 years ago. And it's always been a part of the platform, you know, because and it's yoga positive for everybody, you know, people back then, I mean, it's definitely changed. The conversation has changed now, but back then it was like yoga was for one body type.
Right.
Yoga looked like this. That's all it was. And it was like, nah, yoga is for everybody.
Right.
You know, and it really does help. And coming from a conservative Christian background where yoga was like paganism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing yoga, Lord Jesus. What a holy water, Lord.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just without really understanding. Like, this is a mind, body, spirit release, renewal.
Absolutely.
And you toning not just your body, you toning your mind, you toning your spirit.
Right.
And so meditation is something I've always been intrigued with. I learned that when I was in Africa and just want to teach that to other people because that helped with my anxiety issues. I had very bad anxiety. And just being able to just breathe. That has saved some people from getting slapped in these streets. Being able to breathe. You're welcome. Being able to breathe.
Learn to breathe.
Know, okay. And chill pill we got going up in here.
Essential oils.
Yes.
And deep breathing.
Yes. You know, and I was like, everybody needs this. Everybody needs a dose of this. So that those things just organically grew in terms of yoga, meditation, dance. And then when I hit like year 3, I was ready for some strategic growth and I wanted to, you know, that's where developing the membership program and then just, you know, intentionally collaborating with other sisters in the community that are doing great things and being able to offer them a platform.
Right.
You know, my little intimate platform, but at least you have a space where you can offer your classes and you can offer your workshops. And so it's just been amazing, you know, and we kind of, we took it to another level with the self-love retreat last year.
Yes.
And just venturing outside of the studio space. And that's when it officially, in my mind, became a movement. Is when we said, you know what? Yes, this intimate studio in 3rd Ward, Texas. Stand up, 3rd Ward. You know, this is the studio.
Yes.
This is what it's about, you know, but it's a movement. So we can create sacred spaces wherever we go.
Right.
You know, and hey, let's encourage other women to do the same thing. So when I hear about, you know, women in Tobago, you know, practicing yoga and having their own retreats, when I hear about women, you know, everywhere in the world just doing this work, it's music to my ears. I love it. I love it.
It's so powerful. And those elements that you're talking about, you know, just really understanding what was going to be authentic to you, right? And then you were able to have an experience to deepen just your love and your appreciation for who you authentically are. And then it's kind of like you can't unknow what you now know, and how then going back to that world that you were living in before, it didn't fit anymore. Right. And then I love just how you kind of explained it. You know, it's like, okay, the first step was, let me just write it down.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm even going to get there, but this is the vision. All right. And I love the way that you're describing it because you can see that there's a process.
Right.
That so often people only see the outcome, like, oh, look at her, like, look what everything she's doing. Yeah, but you don't know that I started, you know, sharing space with my storage.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Straight
often
up.
I think like that's where we get deterred, whether you're self-employed or just life, any goals that we have. You know, it all really kind of sparked with like having the space to say, hey, who you are and in this skin that you are, and look at your history and this connection that you're having to all of these practices. And then it's like, and that's beautiful. And you don't have to be anything other than. Which I think is so similar to what we try to do here about this is what therapy can look like for you. Right. Give you that space to just come and show up authentically you. And now you walk away, you're like, hey, I can't unknow what I now know.
Yeah. And y'all do that so well. You know, therapy, let me tell you something. You might have this image, you know, of therapy, like this office, and it's like this brown desk, and, you know, the person's on the other end and they got their notepad, and they turn on their recorder. Baby, that is not what's going on up in here today.
No.
I walked in, we got crystals, oils, we got black brown girl magic.
Yes.
Y'all better look these sisters up.
But I think you are so great at really these different elements of healing, right? And it's so having a safe space, connecting with that which you connect with, being able to walk in your own authenticity, and then the support that you're talking about. Because that was the other piece you said, okay, I can't do this alone.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reach out to these other women who also maybe need my support. So the idea of also support and community and people that support your goals, right? Like you can just kind of see all the elements that are there, and then having, the courage to kind of step out on that faith that you said. And one thing you didn't mention last time, who are you, ambassador?
I was just about to go. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, because you say you're a self-love advocate, right?
Yes.
And you've incorporated it in all aspects of your business. And so you were recently named.
Yes, so I'm a proud elite ambassador for the Oprah magazine.
Yes.
Hey, Mama O, hey!
Elite.
I gotta throw that in there. It was in the description, so I'm gonna say it.
Yes.
But it's awesome just to see that, whoever made this, decision when they selected these individuals just saw that what the woman's earth was and what I desire to do in my life is in alignment with this other movement, right? By somebody that everybody loves.
Yes.
Right? So that is pretty cool. It's
so
very
cool.
And and we have our own little Facebook group, so we kind of chat it up on a daily basis, and it's like, damn, Oscar nominees and established authors and all these different women doing all these amazing things, and I'm like, you know what? If y'all want me in here, cool.
Yes.
I'ma just come as I am. I might twerk one day. I might meditate the next. But if you don't take me as I am, hey,
I
I'm here
belong
for
in this
it.
space just like everybody else.
But it's beautiful. It's just all about empowering, women, and creating a space for healing, and knowing that healing has different faces. There isn't one way to heal. I have met so many sisters on this journey, from doing Reiki to chakra balancing to music therapy, just sitting. I mean, I even met a sister that she did these snuggle parties. So it wasn't like, you was getting busy, but she used the studio space to put pillows all over the space, and it was because we don't touch as much as we do.
Right.
Now, as a Virgo and somebody that's very, I was like, I'm gonna sit on the side for the first one, but I might be in there for that second one. I'm gonna just see, how it goes down. But it was just very touch positive.
Sure.
And some people need touch just to heal.
Oh, absolutely.
Some
touch
people,
is healing.
You grow up and you don't get hugs from your parents or from your loved ones. And I just, I didn't realize how many people didn't experience that.
Right.
And that goes a long way in your own affirmation, healing journey, self-worth. And so sometimes just to get that touch, that non-judgmental, non-sexual advancing touch is just healing. And I saw people just kind of break down.
Absolutely.
You want to hug me? Hold me? So it's so many avenues and modalities to healing. And I think as many spaces as we can all create and invite people in to facilitate, it's a beautiful thing. Nobody has to go through this world hurting unnecessarily.
I think it's important to talk a little bit more about that as far as options, as far as healing, especially when it comes to minority communities. You said you grew up as a conservative Christian, and a lot of times when you hear about these different options, it feels very anti whatever you learn, where in actuality, a lot of that stuff kind of coincides sometimes with Christianity and things like that. So what do you think, what would you say to people that are struggling with, I'm a Christian, we're supposed to do this, this, and this, and this, but I know people are telling me that stones and oils and all of this stuff can really help you get to a better space, yoga, or, mindfulness, all that. So what would you say to those people?
It's so funny that you asked that because my family, when I first started this, like, and this was even before the Woman's Earth, I've always been like that different child. You know, shout out to all the different children, you know, that just asked all the questions. Like, I was the one that went up to my pastor as a child and was like, so my friends, I have friends at school that are Muslim, Hindu, and I just don't think they're going to hell. I need you to help me work that out.
Right,
You know, like,
right.
in my mind, they good people. I need to know, you know. And he was just very, you know, he gave me a very good answer that I was able to sleep at night.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It might not have been something that he would have said up at the pulpit,
Right.
but he told me, you know,
Yeah.
they good, you good. God knows your heart. Good. That's all I needed to know. But I would say, you know, I've been there, you know, specifically, you know, not even just Christianity, any kind of, you know, conservative a religion. You know, it's freeing to move out of the space of dogma and religion and into a space of spirituality. You know, when you Christianity is my point of reference. Jesus hung out with all the folk, all his road dogs were people that were pretty much outcasted, right? He hung out with the people that people were quick to judge, right? And he utilized all of his resources for healing, you know. And so I truly believe that God gives us everything that we need to heal. If you're going to find it in the ground with crystals, you're going to find it with numbers through numerology, you're going to find it with people who have been trained to navigate energy. You're going to find it, you know, everywhere if you just believe it to be true and know that it's credible. Always check your resources. Right. But it is hard because I've been there, but you have to open your mind up and step out of a space of judgment. You know what I mean? Because guess what? We all are breathing the same air. You know what I mean? And I think it's freedom when you can step out of judgment and say, okay, we don't practice the same religion, but you got a good heart. You know, I can see what you're doing. I can feel, you're sad and I can feel that. Let's connect to that and let's see where we can find some common ground. Don't be scared to not judge. Sometimes, you know, you get so used to placing judgment on others because that's kind of what you're taught. You know, if you do this, you're going to go to hell. And then if you don't do that, you're scared what might happen to you because subconsciously, if you're judging, then you feel like you're always being judged. So step out of a place of judgment. Nobody's telling you to change what you believe, but just don't judge others for not believing what you believe. Because I don't know any major religion that promotes judgment. You know, I don't know any major religion or spirituality that doesn't promote love, you know, that doesn't promote compassion, you know, and helping those that are in need. You know, how can we do that if we just getting high off our own supply and just working with people that just believe and think just like us? You know, you're not going to grow, you're not going to expand. So for those that are struggling with that, I've been there. I know how you feel, but that there's something inside of you that's saying, but I feel like there's more. There is more, you know.
Well, and I think that's the key. I think, you know, we're talking about religion and spirituality, but really it can be any beliefs that you have about life, right? So you get to this point where you're like, okay, maybe I'm struggling in relationships, right? Because the way that I grew up, like, you know, I grew up and maybe my mother and father didn't get along. And maybe my father, he was a certain type of way. And so now I believe this about, you know, my mother said, never trust a man. Or never trust a man with money. Right? And so that's my dogma now at this point. Right? And so then I'm an adult. And now suddenly I'm struggling in my relationships. Why? Because I'm holding on to a belief that it may not be my belief at this point, or it's not working for me. So that then is what you're saying, like, okay, you're saying, wait, there may be more. That's where you want to check in and say, I don't know if this is working for me anymore. Well, where did those beliefs come from? You know, and do you still believe that? Or and maybe it is. Well, let's explore it. So and it as it pertains to spirituality or what have you, and if you have, you know, maybe, because I think it's good to be able to have questions about everything. Well, I want, because that can also deepen your beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So, okay, now I'm having these questions about that. So let me go speak to somebody that I respect. Like with you, it was the pastor. You know, are there other people in that community? Like, I have these questions.
Yeah.
Help me to understand, you know, like, because sometimes the teachings that we get, they're not from the pastors, they're from other people,
Yeah.
our family members.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's not right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's, and then
Don't do
then
that.
you go check it and you're like, hey, wait, you've been telling me this wrong the
Right.
whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So question it. If you're questioning it, that's okay. That's an opportunity for you to deepen, reevaluate your beliefs, and maybe it's time that you get to adopt beliefs that are more authentic to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think if there's a level of peace missing, or something that you feel like you're always in conflict with yourself or whatever your beliefs are, like you said, explore it. But I also think you have to open yourself up to, just like we said before, as far as like church and therapy, if God didn't want therapists here, he wouldn't have created therapists to help you through whatever you're going through.
Right.
Like he creates doctors to help you with medical things. You know, you have all these things available, so you have to explore that and see how that can help you. If crystals are of the earth, God created the earth. God created crystals, right?
Exactly.
And so I understand the hesitation and the difficulty in opening up to like other options. And I'm not even just saying, I'm just saying crystals because that's the easiest one, but just whatever that you're presented with, sometimes you can use that to strengthen whatever your beliefs are. But you also have to take it upon yourself to say, I'm going to be open to this process because whatever I've been doing may not have been working in the past anyway. So let me see what could happen if I just open myself up a little bit more.
Yeah.
If I try something different than the norm. And people struggle with that. That's a big thing in therapy. Is like,
that's a lot of times what brings people to therapy.
Exactly. Like I've been trying it this way and it's not working. But as soon as you present me with another option, no, I can't do that because this is the way I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think sometimes just get to the point where that is where you're at in therapy, where you need that support. Now that's the support that a therapist can provide you, or create the space for you to have the process, like so for you to have a healthy process or a productive process on, wow, I'm struggling with this. That's what a therapist does for you, is okay, well, let's explore this, and they're gonna help give you a process for you to come to a decision yourself. The therapist is not going to, just, and if they do, if they impose their personal belief, run, because that's not the role of a therapist. We're not here to impose our beliefs onto you.
Right. And anytime I can get my sisters together, and if one of my Muslim sisters, I'll ask her to pray. I'll ask my Christian sister to pray. I'll ask somebody else to pray. All in the same setting. I think that when you can stand firm in whatever your spiritual belief is, but still be out of judgment, that is the most beautiful energy to be in. And that is pure, because that means that this is something that you have affirmed for yourself, but you also empower and appreciate the same thing for someone else, even though it may look different. And that's the same thing with healing. What I do for healing, it might look different for you, but we are all on this journey to peace, love, happiness, feeling whole, taking the best good care of ourselves, living our best lives, all of that. We're all, most of us are all on this journey to that. That's the goal, and it's gonna look different. How we doing it, but I can look to my left and I can look on both sides of the couch, and I can see that's the goal we're all on. We just might be doing it different. And hey, well, what are you doing over there? Okay, that's interesting. Let me go try that. Or hey, where are you going to this workshop? Okay, all right. I think I'm gonna try that. Just don't limit your toolkit to healing.
And knowing that you can try different things out and it may not work for you, that's okay. Try something else.
You
can think about, like, you go to an ice cream shop and maybe today I'm gonna try this. I didn't like that one, so let me try the next one. When they give you them samples, and then now I know when I come in here that give me the rocky road. I love rocky roads. So that's what I'm thinking.
Girl, you get me hungry.
Every time it's rocky road.
But and it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I read a quote this morning, and it was that, it was you can have people walk on your path with you, and I'm paraphrasing, but you can have people walk on your path with you, but they can't walk the path for you.
Yes.
Right? And so you can have people in this process of growth and healing with you, but they can't do the work for you.
No.
Like, you're going to still have to do the work, which means you have to connect with that which works for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right on. Right on.
So when we're talking about self-love, are there any basics of like, how do you get to that place of self-love? What needs to happen in order to be like, okay, I'm comfortable in my skin. I love me some me. I feel good about who I am in this moment.
You know, when I was on the way over here, I thought about this memory just came to me as I was reflecting on, okay, self-love, self-care. And I remember being in college, and I took a road trip to Dallas with a friend so that we could go see the Roots for the first time. Shout out to the Roots. You know,
if they're watching.
I know. So I remember like being in the audience, and if you've ever been to like a Roots concert or anything close to it, it's all about natural oils, incense, and fighting injustice, right? And jamming all at the same time, right? So I remember there was a sister next to me, and this was before I went natural. This was like, I went natural like 2 weeks after this concert, okay? And of course I had seen sisters, but it was always sisters in this type of environment. It wasn't like the normal thing at the time. Not in Houston where I was hanging out.
Right.
So anyway, I remember she had a hair wrap on, and then like halfway through the concert, she took her hair wrap off, and I remember looking at her when I saw her hair, I got this feeling. I got this, it's hard to explain. Yes, that's exactly what I got. Like, it's hard to explain what I felt, but whatever she was exuding jumped onto me, and I was like, I want that.
She owned it.
Yes. And at the time, I just thought it was all about her hair. So 2 weeks later, I was like, cut this shit off. I need to be natural. What's up? You know. So, and it grew into what it needed to be for me. Right. But what it was is she was being herself, truly authentic, and loved every moment of it. Knowing that she was a rarity. Right? You know, like that wasn't the thing. And so I just thought, man, but it was a feeling. So if I were to feel someone else's personal empowerment, that's what I felt from her, right? And so to answer your question, I mean, for me, first just knowing that you're deserving, you know, that you are deserving of love and that you are worthy, you know. Comparison is self-destruction. And let's face it, all of us on some level compare ourselves to others. You know, even the celebrity of celebrities on some levels compare themselves to others. But you got to check that shit, because it will drive you down this road of destruction, because you are unique. And if you are, when you're no longer here, it's going to change the spectrum of this whole universe. So you are unique and you are needed. And then assess what your desires are. Not what's trending, not what society is saying. What are your desires? In that moment, I thought I had to get my natural hair so I could feel that over and over and over again. But it took experience and evolvement to say, oh no, it's from within. Got it. You know, but just explore what your desires are truly. By yourself. If nobody else was in the room to judge you, what do you really want? What makes
sometimes people don't know.
Exactly. I asked that question so many times in like different settings and stuff, and then it's a lot of people just be like, I never really asked myself that. You know,
never spend time by myself.
Even think about that,
or that I can even ask.
Right.
What do I want?
Right. We are giving y'all permission.
It's your divine birthright
to explore what do you want? What does happy look like for you?
Right.
What are your desires? You know, and then how are you gonna get there? And knowing that it's steps, it's moments. It's a process. You know,
which makes change also.
Exactly. As your desires and as you evolve change, it's going to change. Y'all posted something. I don't know if it was your page or Melanin or Mental Health, but y'all posted something about love and how true love is when you allow your partner to change.
Yes. Allowing others to change. That's
yes.
right.
And so the best way that you're ever going to be able to allow somebody else the freedom to evolve and change is you got to allow that for yourself.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
You are going to change. Your desires are going to change. What you like is going to change. You're going to change. Give yourself grace and permission to do that.
Right.
And then it will help you do that for others.
And to gravitate towards the relationships that allow for that.
Yes.
For you to be able to recognize this relationship, you know, I think you outgrow relationships sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes things don't end because it's a dramatic, so it's just you find yourself, especially when you commit to work where you're doing personal work and growing and healing, like you're gonna change.
Yes.
And that means your relationships will change. Now, it's a matter of, do they change with you? Is the other person that you're in relation with, and this is not just romantic relationships.
Yeah.
It's your family members.
Yep.
It's your friendships.
Yep.
It's your careers.
Yep. Yep.
You find yourself like, I'm not that person that when we started the relationship.
Right.
That's not me now. Is there space in this relationship for me to continue growing and evolving? Is there space in this relationship for you to continue growing? If there's not, then we're either gonna stalemate, or we're gonna grow apart.
Yep. Yep.
And sometimes you grow apart, and that's just life.
It's just the way it is. You know, I mean, because who wants to be the same forever and ever?
Some people do.
Some people are comfortable there.
Some people are like, this is how I am, this is how I'm always gonna be. Like,
and that's cool.
Right.
That's cool. You know, we honor that, but I need you to know that everybody is not going to do that.
So can you accept other people's changes while you want to stay the same?
Other people growing, evolving, stretching, or whatever, while you are content with where you are. And I think it's just accepting others so that you accept yourself so you can accept others.
Right, and be comfortable with what your choices are, how you choose to live your life, so that other people, you can do the same for other people.
Yes.
And that's where it comes from a lot of times when we're struggling with our own choices or feeling like we're being judged, even if nobody is judging you. You know, but that's because I haven't necessarily accepted the decisions I've made or how I'm living my life.
Perfect. I mean, because that's what I ask when I'm working with a sister and she goes, I'm having a hard time forgiving this person for X, Y, and Z. And then my next question is, what are you having a hard time forgiving yourself for?
Amen.
Because
Yes.
there's something you have not forgiven yourself for, and that's why you holding this person hostage to that.
Right.
You know, I'm having a hard time, you know, letting go of X, Y, and Z. Okay, what are you having a hard time letting go of for yourself?
Right. And always talk to yourself.
Right.
You know, it whatever you're imposing on yourself, you're gonna impose on others. If you're self-loving, it's gonna be easier for you to love.
Right.
And sometimes those relationships are difficult to let go because we attribute who we are or what we feel in that relationship to the relationship.
Oh yeah.
Right? We don't understand that, you know, we think that it's the other person that allows us to feel sexy or desire, whatever it is, or wanted or joyful. We assign that to the other person when in reality there's something that relationship is lending itself for you to tap into that part of yourself.
Yes.
And that's why it's so often so difficult to let go, or when relationships begin to change, because then it's like, no, then I can't have that. But you're outsourcing your power to that other person or to the relationship. No, that's who you are.
Yes.
What did you tell yourself? What was the internal dialogue that said, I can be that in this space? Right. And so, but it is a process. It is a process, and it is difficult. And you know, about the growth and people being, you know, some people are like, this is how I am, this is how I'm always gonna be, you know, I can't change. Okay, just understand that you probably will lose out on some relationships and deepening relationships as a result of not wanting, because a lot of times that is really out of fear, right? Like there's fear in change, and fear that I won't be able to do that, fear that I'll disappoint somebody, fear whatever. And that then is really about like, I don't want to do that work.
Yeah.
That shit sounds hard, uncomfortable, scary. That's a choice. Realize it's a choice, and that there are the cost to that is you may lose some relationships,
Right.
you know, as a result of it.
Yeah, this brought back a memory. I had a friend back in the day that she had went off into some other spirituality, you know, that she was practicing that was working for her. She grew up as a Christian, and she had to share it with her grandmother because she was close to her grandmother, and she was really nervous about sharing it because grandmama loved Jesus. All of that.
Right.
But at the same time, grandmama loved her too, and so she felt comfortable going to grandma and say, Grandma, this is what I'm into, this is what I'm doing, you know, I really want you to understand what this is. And she's going through the whole motions and trying to break it down. And grandma, in all of her love, said, baby, if it's making you happy, then I'm happy for you. But I'm too old to be learning all that. you lost me a long time ago.
Right.
But what was so cool is that her grandmother said, but if that is making you happy and if that's making you be a good person and be good to others and good to yourself, then I am good with it.
Right. And that's love.
You know, absolutely.
That's the love where that's you know, Dr. Maya Angelou says that love liberates.
Yes, it
right?
does.
And so it's saying, wow, like that's that space that even within this relationship where I have my beliefs and this is what means something to me, there's still enough space for you to be authentically you.
Right.
And I still love you.
Right.
Yeah.
I may not agree.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I still love you.
Yeah.
We still have a relationship as a result of that.
Yeah. That's me and my mom.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
love
me and
that.
my mom's relationship. I mean, my mama, baby, don't come in here talking about Jesus. But she loves me. She knows that I have a different relationship.
You have a different path.
You know, with the Lord than what she has.
Right.
It looks differently, but I'm a child.
That's right.
You know, and you look like you're doing good.
Right,
you know,
right.
everything's doing good. So just keep it up.
Yeah.
You know, just keep it up.
That's beautiful.
You know, and that's so important. You know, and you might not get that from your
That's
mama.
right.
You might not get that from your daddy. But there are 7 billion people on the planet.
Find the support.
So find the
Right.
support that you need.
Right.
Don't feel like that the people that were always there are supposed to be the people that you're supposed to be depending
That's right.
upon.
They will change. The relationships
People
will
are
change.
going to change.
Mhm.
You know, so when you're growing and evolving and
Yes.
you're feeling different and you got questions, ask those questions.
Right.
Position yourself in situations that are safe and sacred that will allow you to ask the
Get
questions that
answers,
you need
right.
to ask and get the answers and support that you need because
Right.
you deserve it.
Right.
You get this life one time. Even if you believe in reincarnation, this one,
This one right here.
you get one.
This is it.
So let's live it to
Woo.
the fullest.
Who knew we was gonna go so deep?
Girl, we gotta have a part
I'm
three.
just saying.
I'm coming back. They're gonna be like,
Who knew we were gonna go so deep?
This is
Self
good.
love
I
and
love what y'all
spirituality.
doing.
Absolutely.
Right.
because that does keep people though. From
Yeah, no, it stops it. It stops it from even
Absolutely.
exploring
expressing
things that could
themselves.
truly bring them some type of peace and self-love.
Yeah.
They don't even go there.
Right.
And sometimes it's because they've been taught from whatever perspective or whoever that they aren't supposed to be loving on themselves.
Yeah.
You know? You made a good point earlier, Lisa. When I worked at the Catholic Church, I used to talk to one of the pastors there, and he was like, so many people come in and they have their grandmother's Catholicism and not what the Bible teaches, what we teach. It's about whatever their grandmother has taught their mother who taught them. This is the way you're a good Catholic, and it has nothing to do with
Right.
Catholicism. So I think you have to really explore, ask questions, get to know where this information is coming from and why it's coming to you in that manner.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people use it. I remember my mom, like she used some of that, you know, as a way to control us.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's and I mean, like, I grew up. I'm Mexican and I grew up Catholic, so you know, guilt and shame and scaring the crap out of you was like how you're gonna be raised.
Right.
In addition to a lot of love, but you know, it'd be like, don't play with your toys after dark because the devil's gonna get in them and talk to you at night. Like, oh shit, right?
Girl, don't put your purse on the floor.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know.
still don't put my purse on the floor.
No,
Because all my money's gonna leak out.
Right,
The money just gonna fall all the way.
Right.
You know, and so so questioning and realizing, I think that's the toughest part. I think a lot of us still have those. We turn into 12-year-olds sometimes around our caretakers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not 42, I'm 12 right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you're in a room with them. Yep.
And they talk to me like sometimes like I'm still 12. And I read a meme somewhere and it was so true. It was like sometimes, and I'm not saying this to disrespect our elders, right? Because that's not it. But there is some truth. It was sometimes older people will think that it's disrespectful for you not to allow them to disrespect you. And I was like, yes,
absolutely,
right.
That holds true today. Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that's part of what we're trying to say here is the whole changing of relationships. Sometimes it's difficult for our caretakers, for our parents to see us as, no, yes, it's still parent-child, but I'm not a child anymore. Now I'm an adult.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult for that parent to kind of let you be how your mom said. Not everybody has that where that works for you, baby. This works for me. And these are the rules at my house, right? But you're gonna be you, and you're not gonna lose my relationship or how I treat you as a result of that.
Yeah.
And knowing that not everybody has that.
Yeah.
But that's some of the work that we gotta do.
And it's a work in progress too. And I don't know if you remember when we did our women's circle facilitation together, and one of the sisters was like, I will never be able to be who I really am from a pleasure sexual standpoint as long as my mother is living. And that hit hard. Yeah. And I was like, damn. You know what I mean? So I tested the shit. I went last time I visited my mom, I was like, I'm gonna tell her the most craziest story I did as a teen. You know what I mean? Just to get it out, you know? So I'm chilling with my mom, but I gotta catch my mom on a good day.
Yeah, that's right. You better.
We gotta be like in a flow. We gotta be feeling good. So we was in the flow. We was feeling good. I was like, Mom, I got a confession to make. You know, it's from back in the day. You know, so I tell you what went down. She was like, what? And I was like, I'm just playing.
Nothing.
Like, I immediately was not able to do that. And I worked that for an hour, you know, just to get up the nerve. And she was like, what? And I'm like, just kidding. That's why I just played with you. I like to play with you. You know, and I was like, well, on some level, I'm the same way. Like, you know, but you just, with elders, there are some elders that's like, you can tell them whatever. But at the end of the day, I do feel like on some level, after you've lived on this earth for so long, you just deserve the right.
You're gonna have to figure
you know, like, so I'm gonna just let you
let them have
you
it.
know what I mean?
And it is hard for some people.
Yeah.
It goes back to all the family stuff that we've talked about, you know, like how the family system is affected and blah, 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 you know, and so it's a lot of work that sometimes it's a web that you gotta kind of untangle and be like, so whose shit is this that I'm carrying?
Right.
Oh wait, this was great, right? Like, so
back in the day,
you know,
and you have to decide: is it, do I coexist in a peaceful relationship, or do I fight through to try to make them see something that maybe they just aren't going to see? And it's more about you and less about them. So you just have to decide, what do I need to do to get myself to a better place, as opposed to like trying to get them to a different place.
And a lot of times it's more about learning how to manage the discomfort and the anxiety and the fear that comes up with you now living a life that's authentic to you.
Right.
Making decisions for what's right for you.
Right.
And it's not easy.
Not at all.
You know, because everybody's not living that life.
Right.
You know, but the thing is, just come back to you.
Yeah.
Come back to you. What are your desires? What is true to you? Because at the end of the day, while you may upset some people around you, as long as you are being true to you, you'll be able to sleep at night and your peace will not be interrupted.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like my question this year is, before I make a decision, you know, and it's hard, before I make a decision, is this in alignment with my goals? Is this in alignment with my peace?
With my soul.
You know, exactly. And if it's not, or if there's some, then I'm going to have to either pin it or I'm just not doing it.
Right.
You know, because at the end of the day, you live this life once.
Right.
You live this life one time.
Woo! So tell us about your 5-year anniversary party.
Yay! First of all, I'm going to get a public commitment from Ebony. Are you coming June 9th, Saturday night? Yes! Y'all heard that? It's 1,000 witnesses. Yes! So Saturday, put that in right now. So Saturday, June 9th, the date, the Woman's Earth turns 5 years old. We going to kindergarten, y'all. So 5 years old, we are going to be celebrating 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the newly renovated Buffalo Soldiers Museum in 3rd Ward.
That's awesome.
It's a beautiful venue. We will have a cocktail hour with some. It's a Caribbean Carnival themed party. So come.
You gonna be
ready.
wearing your feathers, Ebony?
I'll have some for you, girl. But come as you are. But make sure that you're gonna be able to move and work out. But be you. Whatever Caribbean Carnival is to you, be you. Okay. Bring your girls. It's the ultimate tribe night out. We're going to be twerking. We're going to have some yoga, meditation, Afro beats, a little Zumba. I'm going to have a few words of encouragement so that you can continue to live your best life. And we're going to hear from some of our members. And it's just going to be fun. So this is a let your hair down, grab your girls, and be ready to just really rock it out all night.
Oh, I love it.
Caribbean food. It's going to be delicious. I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
Ooh, it's gonna be so good.
Yes, I'm really excited.
That's
so
awesome. How do I get
Saturday, June
tickets?
9th. Okay, tickets, you can go to thewomans.earth.com. That's WOMANS.com and click events. You can go to the Woman's Earth page and you'll see June 9th, click that event.
We'll put a link up to it.
Right.
Also.
Thank y'all. But I would love to have you. Grab your girls. This is the ultimate tribe night out. If you don't have any girls, you're gonna make some sisters.
Yes.
We do everything in sisterhood.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait, and that's I'm so happy that you made it 5 years and I'm making 50 more. And
I can't
it's a
wait
community
to see
success.
Yes,
It's a community success.
Cannot wait to see how it grows and all of that. So thank you for joining us again.
Yes,
Thank you. I have so much fun here. I'm gonna just start coming up here on Wednesdays. Whoever, I'm gonna sit right there and just look at y'all. Whoever is here, I'm gonna just be like.
Oh, and you didn't say your podcast.
Oh yes,
Come
so
on,
I know. It's so much. My podcast is Love Right Now. So it's the Love Right Now show.
It's so good too.
You can catch it at Love Right Now show or Love Right Now on Facebook. And it's just me blabbing all my stuff and just kind of stuff I can't tell my mom. No, just kind of giving you a little piece of myself and giving you some encouragement. We always end with a little meditation and mindfulness, and I'm going to start interviewing people. The first 6 shows, it was just me. And so I'm going to start, but I gotta have y'all. So if you catch up, you can find it on SoundCloud and also iTunes. Love Right Now show. Awesome. And I'm excited to have guests on.
Yes.
Hopefully, maybe next week.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good.
Congratulations on that.
Thank y'all.
Of course. Thank you guys for joining us. We still have lots going on. Okay,
so next week I am going to be with Dr. Earl Turner. He was here, remember? We are going to be talking about critical conversations in Latinx and Black communities around mental health. So you can go to his Facebook page and watch it live if you're not in Houston. If you're in Houston, come to UHD. That's my alma mater. So I'm going back, go Gators. So we're going to be there. Join that conversation next month. So excited. June 3rd. We are having the Changing the Face of Therapy online town hall discussion. And we have some amazing clinicians that are lined up. We have Dr. Joy of Therapy for Black Girls is going to be one of the panelists. We have Rashawn Miller, who is a mental health advocate. He's an author, speaker, clinician, just won the APA award for his work in advancing mental health in minority communities. We have Dr. Jess, who is an international speaker. She is a sexologist from Canada and on TV and speaking internationally. We have Dr. Manuel out of Austin, who is founder of the Institute for Chicano Psychology, doing amazing work out there in Austin. We have Dr. Nikki Cole, who is a UH professor, teaches sexuality, as Dr. Nikki knows. And we have now confirmed also Dr. Turner, who is a professor here at University of Houston, does a lot of work, University of Houston downtown. You can see him on Fox News frequently when he's commenting on there, also with the APA. So much in their bios that I'm probably forgetting a lot.
Just check it out.
But we're gonna be highlighting the different panelists throughout the next weeks. But join us. We're gonna have the link on there. You can get your ticket through Eventbrite. Be part of this discussion because we want it to be an interactive discussion about the direction of mental health in Black and Latinx communities and how we can get our white colleagues to be part of this discussion as well. Really promoting cultural competency. So this is for everyone.
Anybody.
All races, all professions.
Don't have to be professional.
You don't have to be just.
We want to
just
hear
be
what
human.
you have to say about it.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
We also, for the rest of this month, we still have the mental health sale at shop.melaninandmentalhealth.com. So you get shirts, mugs, bags, all kind of stuff. You get a discount if you use the code mental health. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be until May 31st. I'm going to be on the Dr. Dawn show this Friday talking about mental health and, you know, just mental health triggers, what causes mental health, you know, just all about mental health since it's Mental Health Month. So you can check that out on Friday on Synergy Radio's Facebook page. I also share it on my Facebook page. I think it's from 10 to 11 a.m.
That's this Friday. I forgot. Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in Houston, Queen Life, matching up with them, and we are doing a mental health walk in Memorial Park. Come out. We're going to be just talking about different mental health issues. Queen Life, if you're not familiar with the organization, also another incredible organization promoting women's healing and growth. So, wow.
We have a lot.
No wonder why I'm tired.
Make sure you follow the Facebook page, follow the Instagram. Or if you're a mental health professional, join the Melanin and Mental Health Professionals group. Get on a directory because it's summer. We've been talking about partnerships and have all this stuff coming up very, very shortly. And so we want to make sure that you stay informed. So, yeah, thank y'all for joining us.
Yes.
We will talk to y'all next week. Bye.